Hello, welcome to the Maya Toolbelt. This is Michael. Today we're continuing with our UV layouts. Sometimes I question whether recording every step of this is really beneficial, but I have gotten some comments that people are getting something out of it, so I'm going to keep going. I can understand, of course, if it's rather dull and you don't really feel like watching the whole thing. Anyway, I'm going to go back to my panels, save layouts, perspective/UV editor right here. So we can see that, and I'm going to continue working on this stuff that is still grayscale. Press Alt-H to hide everything else so I can focus just on this piece by itself. And like I tend to do, I'm going to go to Modify, Freeze Transformations, and then simply do a UV automatic at first just to kind of get the first batch of UVs kind of laid out here, and then I can go from there. Looks like we have our main piece here. I'm just going to grab this edge here and move and sew and just start doing that all along here, building this area up until we get to the top. Do the same for the lower pieces down here. Now I am getting some of these side pieces coming off here, so I'm going to undo some of these, go back to there. And for those pieces, so I'm going to go to Select, Components, UV Shell. I'm going to grab this one and this one. Since these kind of have these pieces coming off of them, I move them over here. I'm going to select all these edges and cut them. And now I can move and sew. I'm no longer getting those side pieces coming off since I cut them off. So this piece would essentially go on to here. However, since my proportions are kind of lost, I'm going to move them over here and cut all the edges so that I can put them together individually. So I'll hit cut. Then I'm going to grab these larger sides, move and sew. Do it again. So I'm focusing on those big pieces first, and then these little edges here I'll fit in next. And for the sake of this piece, I feel like what we can get away with is straightening all these edges out so it's going straight through here. Since it's such a small amount of, it is going to be a little bit of a distortion through here, but I think it's a small enough amount of distortion that it won't matter too much. At least that's my thinking. I may change my mind after I see a texture on it. But what I'm going to do is grab this row of UVs through here, and then I'm going to go to my, modify align right here at the top, and go into the options. And this is a little bit different than the way I used to do it. I'm going to say maximum U value, apply. There we go. And we'll grab these and do the same, apply. Okay, so now that I've gotten those straight, I'll do the same on the other side. And if that was maximum, I'm guessing this must be minimum. Yep. Looks like I missed one. Okay. So now that I've gotten those straightened up, I'm going to select these edges through here. Some of them are disconnected through here. I'm going to move and sew, just to sew them together. And then I'm going to grab this wall of edges, move and sew. So because of that distortion, I'm getting some problems through here, but nothing too big. So now that I've gotten these pieces here, I'm going to move these points to kind of rearrange them and select through here and move and sew. So I'll move and sew these. This one in the middle is going to be, I knew it was going to be kind of straight, so I went ahead and selected it. Let's see if I can grab all of these now and move and sew. Okay. And then over here, grab all these UVs, and I want to align them, so I'm going to go to Modify, Align Options, and Maximum U, hit Apply. Grab all of these. I'm going to use a center U value for these. Hit Apply. And then I want to line them up vertically. So I'm going to grab all this, say center V value, say minimum V value. I have to say I do prefer the way the align stuff worked in the old UV editor, unless it could be I haven't exported enough to find a way of using it the way it was used in the old editor. In the old editor, you simply had these buttons you push to just align everything pretty easily, instead of having to use this option box and go through it like this. Okay, now that I have this like this, what I think it might be easiest to do is go over here and go ahead and line these up so they're not all skewed like this. So I'm going to grab all these UVs just so I can try to avoid having to do that individually, and we'll say maximum U value. Then grab the rest of them and apply. So now these are straight like this. So now when I do move and sew over here, hopefully it'll just fit right in since they're already straightened out. Just moving and sewing. See, that's much better. I can just move and sew here. Now I just got to align them. And it's a bit easier, it looks like. Say maximum V. Here we'll say minimum V. Here we'll say maximum V. Same here. Back to minimum again. Okay, that's pretty good, I think. So up here at the top, I wasn't too concerned about the distortion, but down here, actually, I think I might want to keep the proportions the way they are here, because this is a much more extreme shape. Instead of trying to get all this to be straight, what I might actually do instead, I'm going to detach this piece from the main piece, and cut that, and select shell. So I'll move this down here. This will be its own UV shell, separate from the rest of it. I think that'll be okay. These little gaps here, I'm going to move and sew to fill them in. I'll cut that one since that one's extra. Same here. Move those off. Cut this one and this one. Select shell again and move those off. And I'll move and sew these. So again, just filling in all these little empty gaps for this beveled edge. And then what I want to do, grab these little pieces. I'm still getting used to the whole select shell thing. It's a little bit different than it used to be. Grab all these edges, then deselect all of these. So all I want to do is have all these selected and deselect all those, and then move and sew, and it will fit all those together. Okay. So over here, I'm going to, I think I cut all these before, which was a mistake. So I'm going to select all of them, deselect everything else, and move and sew just to put them all back together. Same here, deselect all this stuff. Move and sew. Deselect all this stuff. And this stuff. Move and sew. Okay. So all these little chunks should be all put back together again. So select shell. This one kind of goes over here. This one kind of goes over here. And we'll grab all these and move them closer so I can see what's going on. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and scrap this edge and move and sew. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Do the same over here. And then these little pieces fit in through here, so grab them and grab the edges in these little gaps, move and sew to fill them in. Same on this side. Alright, so I think that should be all the pieces. Looks like it. So, this shell, I'll just kind of position it so it's close by over here. So these will go over here. Okay. So this will be how the shells are for this piece, I think. Let's close this. And we can apply our texture that we're using. And Control-Shift-H to unhide everything else. We can rescale our UV shells to make sure that we are proportional. Looks like this is pretty close. So something like that. And these guys down here, looks like that's pretty close. Again, we're mainly just worried about getting close. Don't have to worry too much about exactness. Alright, let's keep on keeping on. Let's grab this wall piece, Alt-H, to hide everything else. So this piece should be relatively straightforward. I know these pieces in the back are never going to be seen, so I can delete them. Same with these bottom faces down here, as well as these top ones. Go back to object mode. And first we'll do modify freeze transformations, UV automatic. And actually what I think I might do instead of automatic, since this is kind of just a big wall, I might be able to get away with doing a planar projection. So this is what the automatic looks like. You can see all the little grooves in the middle of the wall have been kind of projected and cut out on their own separate areas. If I do a planar project though, it should help make that a little bit easier. So I'm going to grab all these faces and deselect the ones on the side, since the planar project will make those flat. And let's see how it looks. UV planar options. And we're going to be projecting from the Z-axis, since the front of my wall is facing the Z-axis, I can see down here. So project from the Z. Keep image width height ratio, we do want that. Hit project. So now we get this shape here. And the main thing we want to try to avoid are any UVs that are stacked so close or that are perpendicular to our projection plane, which we do have a few of those, looks like. So this little strip of polygons right through here are perpendicular to our projection plane. Same with these down here. And so they won't really show up too well. So we'll have to fix that, although they're a little disproportionate right now. So I'm going to go to Modify, Align, Options. We'll say this is maximum V value, hit Apply to align these up. This will be the same. Close this. And now when I move it so this shouldn't warp. There we go. Okay, so this face, zoom in over here. So it has a beveled lip. Hit Shift period for greater than, and I can kind of expand my selection. You can see as I move these faces, a new row of faces are in there. So I want to scale these faces down a little bit. We'll select this scale handle and minimize, click and drag just slightly, just pulling it in a little bit. We'll select this scale handle, go up to the top, and minimize, click and drag to do the same small little, whoops, too much. I guess that's as close as we're going to get. But once I get it down, I can just grab the UVs themselves and pull them up manually. Just so it's got a little bit of a lip, right, like this one does. Do the same with this. Alright, so I can select this face, shift period to grow, then grow again, and then grow again. And again, I'm just trying to make sure I get all those perpendicular faces. So I think if I move this, Yep, there's another set. So I'm going to scale this selection in the same way I did with the other. Grab that handle there. Middle mouse click and drag slightly just to pull it in. Grab that handle there. It's going to be sensitive again, so it might not be perfect, but we're just going to, yeah, so that, just keep it there. I'll grab all of these UVs and pull them down like this. Same up here. So let's do this again. Select my faces here. Oops. Right, shift, period. We can move them a little bit. If another row of faces doesn't show up, we know we're okay. Shift, period again to grow our selection. That one's fine. Grow it out. That one's fine. Grow it out. And there we have another row underneath that one. So, okay, so let's go ahead and scale this the same way we did before. Let's see if we can scale with the middle handle just a little. There we go. A little bit like that. Let's look at it at the top. So it pulls down a lot further from the top. So we just got to readjust this back up like this. Same here. And I think that should be the end of it, yeah. So we got all those little nooks and crannies all laid out so they all get some UV space for a texture. I mean, it's a very small amount of space, but it's something, and it won't be any kind of stretching. If I wasn't doing this for a classroom of students, I might not have even done that much, just because the distance that we're going to see these from in our final render, we won't necessarily notice that kind of stretching. But now I have to do the same thing for the other side. However, what I think I might do instead is delete these faces on this side that I haven't done. Hit delete. And then I'm just going to mirror this piece since it's already been done. I'm going to move my pivot point to be snapped to this edge right here. I'm going to go to, let's go ahead and delete history. We've done a lot of stuff over here with the history. I'm going to edit, delete by type, history. So now I'm going to Control D to duplicate it, scale the duplicate -1 in the x-axis, hit enter. So now these two are like this. Control Shift H to unhide everything else, just to make sure my duplicate surface is in the right spot. It hasn't shifted over to the side or anything, so it looks fine. Control Alt H again to hide everything else. And I'm going to combine these together. Mesh, combine. I'm going to grab the vertices where the two objects meet and go to Edit Mesh, Merge. And then finally I'll grab this edge down the middle and go to Mesh Display, Soften. Back to Object Mode. And now my piece should be all set. Delete the history again. So the only downside, if you want to call it that, is the UVs are mirrored. So I'll select all these faces, and here in the UV editor, I'll move those faces over here to the side. And I'm going to flip them. So I'm going to grab these UVs, go to Modify, and I want to, let's see, flip. There we go. Then grab this edge in between and move them so. And now we have it all connected like this. So instead of a mirrored texture on both sides of this line, it's just one texture we can project across the whole thing. And we've already got all those little nooks and crannies mapped since we did it once. So now we can go to Object Mode, reapply our texture grid, and see how we look proportionate. Control Shift H to bring everything else back. Select the shell. Looks like we need to scale it up a little bit. So something like this, a little bit like that. Alright. So that's been taken care of. Let's do this baseboard before we call it done for this video. I'll go ahead and leave all of the geometry as is. I have been going through and deleting back faces and things, but a baseboard I could easily copy and use somewhere else if I need to. So I'm going to go ahead and leave all the geometry there. I'm going to go to Modify, Freeze Transformations, UV, Automatic. Okay. So we need to pick a seam. The seam most logical place would be the back bottom corner like this. So this would be the seam, and I'm going to shift and drag through here for all the other edges and move and sew. So now my seam is right there, the edge I did not have selected when I moved and sewed. We'll just move and sew these side pieces on like that, and we're all set. Go ahead and assign our grid. So we need to rotate this. I'm going to modify rotate. Okay. Scale this down so it matches proportionately. We're almost done. We still got to do the rest of it. We're not even halfway done yet, but maybe we'll just finish this whole thing. I don't know. This might take a bit too long. All right, we're going to call it for this video. We're almost done. We just have this section here left for this wall piece. It's a lot of work for this one wall piece, but then once we have it done, we can duplicate it for the rest of the walls and have like 70% of the room done. So that's why we're spending a lot of time on this piece to get it as well as we can, that it can be reused a lot. But in any case, hope you're enjoying the process, getting something out of it. We're going to be having this part done probably in the next video, and then we'll start working on this piece. Yay! Oh man, so this is taking us forever. This is going to take us even longer. I don't know. There's a lot of big pieces, and you can see that there's a lot of copies of things we're doing over here, like the columns and such. So it actually might not take as long as you think. All of this stuff we can copy from this piece to get all the UVs where they are. It's mainly these large sections, and large surfaces don't take as long to UV since they're just large and flat. So it'll just be some of these other new things. The chandeliers, I think, are going to be probably the most complex things to unwrap compared to the rest of the stuff. So I think this actually won't take as long as it seems based on what we're doing here. So all this work here is going to save us a lot more work in the long run. In any case, I will talk to you guys later.